Hey all, so stand-up gamer here. I think this is the third vlog that I'm going to be uploading. Originally I wanted to just record my screen from this camera, but it didn't look very good because of all the little grids and whatnot. So there's going to be kind of a weird one where I am trying to screen record my laptop where I do my CAD while I talk to y'all on this camera, and I don't know how I'm going to edit it in, but I'll deal with it when I deal with it. But I'm gonna try to speed run this CAD of this this GPU mod I'm doing, because this camera can only record for like 30 minutes, and so let's see if I can finish this CAD in less than 30 minutes. And it should be simple. It should be simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new assembly and just call it, let's see, where is that assembly? I have a lot of files here. Let's just search for this thing. I'm looking for the 92mm fan that I have CAD'd up. Alright, so now we got that in, and we'll just place it there. You know, actually, let's multiply it. Let's get this out of the way. Let's go ahead and make some mates so that they are all aligned how we want it. And so right now I'm just pressing up each fan together, and I'm also now aligning some sides of the fans, and now the tops of the fans. Alright, and so that's pretty much how it's going to be. The fans are going to be like this. So if you see, there's like the 3 fans, and then we've also got the little sketch I did yesterday for the shroud with the dimensions. But we knew coming in that these dimensions are going to be pretty known because they're CAD'd up already. It's a 92mm fan, 50mm thick, and so now we all have it set where we want it. And it's a little bit arbitrary because we don't have the actual shroud in, but let's go ahead and get that shroud in. Let's just call this RTX 3080 white mod. Alright, we'll just call it that. Save this file. Let's just call it RTX 3080 white mod. Cool. And we're going to save this externally. Alright, so we've got these fans in here, and now we can start building the actual shroud. And so we're going to edit this part and just start building. Let's see, where can I start this? Let's just start it. Maybe we'll just start it on this front plane. Let's do that. Because what we do know is that we are going to be creating these 2 mounting holes, so they're equal. Let's create 2 holes, and we know that these are aligned horizontally. So now that we have those aligned horizontally, they will always be horizontal to each other. And then now we also know that these are 221mm apart, and from what I gather, I think the hole was around like, I want to say maybe like 2 mils. Let's say 2. We could always open it up with a drill. So let's do 2.5. Let's do 2.5. No, that's too much. No, that should be fine. We'll do 2.5. Okay, so now we know that these holes are going to be 2.5. Well, the actual quote-unquote center of the hole, because I think if you remember from the last stream, we're going to be making it into a slot and not a hole. And the idea with the slot is that we can give the shroud some wiggle room when we actually put it on the GPU, because I don't think it's going to be like super precise anyway. So let's just go ahead and do that. So in that case, I don't want these to be actual holes that we want to work off of, because we're going to use this little slot tool and we'll just like create a slot. It's going to be pretty arbitrary. Let's just make it as wide as the 2.5 circle. And I like that this was kind of aligned with that already. So, ooh, hold on one second. Why is it doing that? Let's just go ahead and do that. And then I'll just make this vertical. That way, like, this slot isn't going anywhere anymore. And I'm just going to go ahead and, I guess, replicate that. Let's be lazy and just like mirror it. Let's see. I have this mouse that like has infinite scroll, and sometimes when I scroll too hard, it just kind of goes haywire, and that's exactly what it did right there, and I kind of lost it. All right, so that's the center, and let's go mirror this over, because we know that we want these things. Oops, it was already mirroring or selected. Okay, so we're gonna mirror on that, and it should now be mirrored. Sweet. Oops, I should not have exited that. Let's just go back into it. All right, so we've got the mounting holes, and we also know that we decided that the edge of the shroud is going to be, I think my laptop is not liking so many things running at the same. I'm like screen recording this right now, and I don't think my laptop can handle it. Okay, and we know that from yesterday that we wanted this value to be 27.5 millimeters, and so now that's going to be the edge of the shroud. And we also know that the interior of the shroud is going to only be, let's see, what did we decide? 30 millimeters. So it's only going to be 30 millimeters. Let's see now. Okay, and we know that the top of the shroud is, well, the top of the inside of the shroud is going to be at the same height as the top of the fan. I'm just going to make this horizontal. And so now basically the height of this mounting hole is now fixed on the y-axis. And so now we can start actually, I guess, kind of creating the shroud itself. Okay, so we've got that value. And one second here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just decide to make this shroud. Ooh, we did not like that. Why did it not like that? That was weird. What I'm trying to do is have this like center. And I'm just going to delete this and see if I can move it right there. Wow, why does it not like that? That's so weird. Okay, why don't you like it? Okay. It's over-defined. Why is it over-defined? It might, maybe is it because of this thing? Maybe it is that thing. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, so basically we've got, are my measurements wrong? I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see. Oh, no, I think that's right. So maybe I did have it like directly on the fan. Okay, that's fine. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is basically use these sketches to create like a really basic shroud. Let's see. we know that this plane here, I guess we're just going to go straight onto that. We're going to go right on top of the fan. So I'm just going to create a surface for now. And we measured yesterday that the internal value of the, hold on, I think I'm thinking about this wrong. Let's backtrack a little bit, and I'm actually just going to carve out the shroud from a block. Okay, so what I do know is that the shroud needs to basically go over the fan, and so I'm gonna go ahead and extrude the shape. Why is it being so weird? All right, so let's do 90, let's see, I want maybe like a millimeter on the fan edges on the side. So let's do like 93. Yeah, I think 93 should be fine. 93 divided by 2, whatever that is. Okay. And on the other side, we're going to do 93 divided by 2 again. All right. Okay. So now we have the basic shape of the shroud. And why is there, oh, because I have that slot. Give me a second here. In that case, let me edit this sketch again. And I think the problem was I brought this at the wrong height. Why can I not escape? Wow, but my laptop is really like struggling right now. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. Alright, I'm gonna bring this down. Why do you keep fighting me? Alright, I guess I can delete this line. Okay, perfect. Alright, so I made a mistake. I forgot that I needed to bring the bottom of the shroud down. And what did we say? We knew that the height from the center of this hole and the bottom of the shroud is going to be 8 millimeters. Okay, so now we have like this box that's going to house the fan. House the fans. Yeah, sorry. It's kind of hard talking through this while I try to rush this. How much time do we done? Wow, 13 minutes already. Oh man, I'm going too slow for this. All right. So we know that the. Oh, actually, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling here. I'm going to go ahead. I forgot that the width of the tabs is going to be 93.5. And what's neat is that I had already given myself more width than the actual fan. So now we're going to bump this up to 46.75. And the reason why I'm doing this is that I now know that, hold on, my mind's kind of everywhere right now. I'm gonna make the shroud like maybe, let's say 2 millimeters thick. Yeah, let's do 2 millimeters thick. So I'm gonna bump this up to 47 and then this to 47.75. And I need to actually change the sketch so that this line is actually going to be 2 millimeters above the fan. Right now I'm actually designing in the overall outer dimensions of the fan. So we know that the fan will rest inside this shroud. It's going to be a shroud of 2 millimeters in thickness, and So I need to go 2 millimeters above it. And then we also know that the tabs, so the tabs, I'm going to change my view here really quick just to kind of illustrate this. I know that the tabs are going to be 93.5, so I'll do like a quick sketch just to kind of show what I'm doing. So like, let's say the tabs are, what am I doing? I should just gut this thing already. Sorry. Okay, so I'll show it right after I do this. So we know that the tabs are going to be 93.5 millimeters across. We've given ourselves like 2 millimeters of space in between. So what I'm going to do is just basically shell this right now. Hopefully I'm thinking about this correctly. I don't need to shell it. I'll just cut it out. Yeah, let's just cut it out. Let's go and do that. This is going to be pretty arbitrary-ish. And I think I decided this was going to be 1 mil or 2. I think I did my math wrong again. I probably did. Yeah, I did my math wrong. Okay, so that's 2 mils. But maybe 2 millimeters is too thick. That is kind of thick. Maybe that's what we want. I have to change the previous feature. We got 16 minutes, my goodness. All right, I'm gonna add another mil to this, it looks like. So it's gonna be 48.75, 48.75. And that should now, if we go back to this sketch, let me see how wide this is. Yeah, 93.5. So basically, this is just an arbitrary dimension, but what's going to happen is we know that the interior of this new shell, or this cutout that I'm going to be making, will then allow the 93.5 millimeter tabs to basically sit on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this all the way through. I don't need to do both, but we're doing both. Cool. So now if you see here, we've got our case fans resting inside this shroud. The shroud's really simple. Like, it's just basically just gonna do that. And we've got our mounting holes that we decided on yesterday. And now all I have to do is just cut out the fan holes and the fan screw mounts. I was chatting with Saper PL yesterday, and he was mentioning, oh, like, have you decided how you want to mount the fan to the shroud? And then yesterday in the vlog, I did mention that I was just gonna just put a hole and then screw it on to the shroud. Saper suggested that maybe I do some internal mounting so that I can hide the screws. Fantastic idea. I was running with the idea that maybe what I could do is like use either M3 or M2.5 heat inserts underneath the shroud and then just screw it from the bottom. But then I was thinking to myself, I just want this done. And so instead, I'm just going to put it right through, and we're going to have exposed screws, and it doesn't really matter. The shroud's going to be made white, but I'll be using silver screws. And we're going to see some silver screws on the white case I'm designing anyways, so let's just roll with it. We've got 11 minutes to do this, so let's go ahead and get this started. So, and I'm going to make it a perfect circle too, so I think it doesn't really matter. So I think I've already started the sketch here. And I'm just gonna draw out this circle, circle, circle. All right. Why aren't those black? Oh, hold on. Okay, they're not black because I didn't actually snap them on there. But they'll be black now. And by black, I mean they're like fully defined. They're not gonna be moving around on me the next time I start fiddling with the CAD. And for the circles on the mounting, give me a second here. Let's just, I really should like, I've used the toolbox to make like hole patterns before, and I really should just like utilize this powerful tool that is SolidWorks to make that happen, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm just too lazy, and I'll just do everything the long way. I'm making all these mounting holes equal, and from what I remember, I should be able to get away with a 5mm. Is it 5? I think it is 5. Hold on a second. Let's see. I think it is 5 though. Did I write that down anywhere? No, I did not. Okay. I think it is 5 though. Hold on. I'm going to look it up really quick. And again, I can just take a drill to this if I'm wrong, but right now I'm just going to look up like how thick a fan screw is. So let's go ahead and ask that. Maybe Gemini will even know. Fan screw dimensions. Yeah, so 5. I think 5 will work. I just Googled it. Anyways, you can't really see, but I just Googled it, and I looked at some images, and from what I do have like some memory of doing it at 5 anyways, and basically that's going to give me enough room for the fan screw to go through. Okay, right now all I'm doing is, I got 8 minutes to do this, all I'm doing is dragging these circles, wow, come on, snap in there, into the fan holes. All right. We're almost there. Man, this is frustrating. It's always bad rushing stuff too though, and I'm definitely rushing it right now. And making that center in that hole, center in this hole. And so we've got those dimensioned out and drawn out, and all we have to do is just cut it out of the shroud, and it could be any value as long as it pierces through. And basically we now have the basis of our shroud, and technically we could just stop here and just have, I mean, I have a little note here that says like fan wire, because I do want the fan wires to exit a certain way, but do I even care? I don't think I care. Maybe I do care. Let me go and yeah, let's just put in like an arbitrary little like notch and cutout for the fans. Okay, I'm back again. It looks like my camera stopped recording, so maybe I went over. Before it died, I had just dimensioned out like some arbitrary number of how big I want this little notch to be. I'm just gonna go with like 115. Let's do like 10 millimeters high. You know what? No, let's bust this to like 125. No, let's do like 140. Yeah, I think that should be big enough for all the fans to come out, and it won't be center. I'm looking at this as if the video card bracket's going to be here, so the further out we make it, the better. Matter of fact, we can probably go even more. Let's go like 110. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. And let's just give it like a tiny little fillet here. Let's do like 2.5 or something. Just round it off a little bit. And then we'll just cut that out. cut that out. Boom. Cool. We now officially have a little notch for our fan wires to come out of. It'll sit in the case like this, and yeah, that's pretty much it. What I could also do is put my little logo over here, because there is an RGB on there. My worry is that if I use the RGB and put it behind, even if I make a little cutout for it, the light will still pass through anyway. Just, do I care? I kind of care. Maybe I'll snap my fingers here, and that way I can like stop the edit. I'm gonna grab the RGB dimensions really quick, and then now, do I care? I can't decide. No, I'm gonna snap my fingers, get the RGB value really quick, and then make a cutout for my SUG SUG for my YouTube channel's name, and then we can at least have the choice of whether or not we want to use it. So snapping my fingers, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The overall height of my logo, or what the RGB little light will allow, is like only 8 millimeters, and so we'll work off of that. We know that this face is going to be the bottom of the GPU, and so this will be the top, and I'll put the logo on top. So I'm going to put a sketch. Ooh, I am not in the right part. Okay, so I'm going to edit this part. I'm going to go ahead and sketch on it now. Oop, that's not the... Ooh, okay. And this is pretty arbitrary. We can really put this logo anywhere, but first off though, I do want to make this box. This box is going to be just for construction, so it's not going to affect the actual model when I do my next feature. And we're going to make this box 8 millimeters because we know that the RGB will be 8 millimeters. Yeah, so it's going to be 8 millimeters, and I really hope I have it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything in between there. There shouldn't be. Okay, because I know there's going to be a tab over here, and this tab should clear this. Let me go ahead and just dimension this out a little cleaner, and then maybe I'll make this like 30. I don't even know how big that thing is. It doesn't matter. And I want to be able to read the SUG logo looking at it from this way. And what I'll do is I will select this line, and I will make some text. And so I know it's going to be bold, it's going to be italic, and it's literally just going to say SUG. And you'll notice that it's upside down, so let's turn it right side up, and it's also backwards, so we're going to put it the other way, and then we're going to make it in the middle, and then bam. And the font size is wrong, so let's go ahead and change that. So we know that the overall unit of the font we want is like 8 millimeters, so boom, it's now 8 millimeters. And with that, hold on one second, can I even print this? I don't think this is going to print, because I'll cut it out, and it's cut out. I'm going to be printing it in this orientation. These should all be okay. The slots. The question is, will this be okay? Maybe we just risk it. We'll just I'll force supports in here, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll just keep the supports in there anyway. Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about this, to be honest. The other idea is that we actually make like a little piece that goes in there to hold like a separate logo piece in place. Now, you know what? I'm happy with this. Let's go ahead and just save this. I think I can figure out a way to have this printed, because I know that, like, basically I'll need supports here, here, and then here. I don't think I need supports on this G part, because that's a pretty easy overhang, kind of like this. Like, I don't need supports for this, I don't think. Yeah, I think we're good. We're gonna leave it like that. I'll just use some double-sided tape for the RGB, and we should have what we need. Let's go ahead and just save this, and we'll save it as, oops, 1 second. Let me just go ahead and actually open up the part on its own, and then save it as a STL, and boom. All right, I think it took us longer than 30 minutes, but that's okay. Sometimes you just can't rush everything, but yeah, so I think that's gonna be it for today. I'm pretty happy with what I have here. I think it's gonna work out for what I need. And I'll update y'all with what happens with this. I don't know if I can get it printed right away, because I'm actually gonna be, right after I record this, I'm gonna be starting the prints for the custom case that this video card is gonna be going into. So I think I can update it tomorrow, or maybe I'll find a gap in between my prints and get this printed out so I can upload tomorrow another little vlog for this. But cool. Thanks for watching. It was a little hectic, but I think we got what we needed out of it. And if you like the video, press like. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that too if you want to. And down below, I'll also post a link to my Patreon, and in the Patreon, you can see some of the behind the scenes of what's happening beyond these little side quests that I'm posting for the vlog. And by the way, I do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks.